Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dorks Are Dangerous, Chronicle 2, Session 4. Joined by the wonderful cast that we have at hand with us this week. Johnny Patches, we have Kaylee, David, and of course myself. Bruce is your DM. Does anybody want to go and do a quick recap summary?
Sure, I can. By the way, audience, the reason why you don't hear Kirsty with us tonight is she's not feeling very good. Hopefully, she'll feel good next session, but that's why she's not here tonight. But basically, what happened is we fought some big bads. We fought two types of big bads, actually. The Sea Claimed, which Mr. Parrish seemed to know something about given his facial expressions when Spivey was talking to him. And also a big chum bucket looking shark thing that just snatched people off the deck because it smelled blood in the air and took off into the sea with somebody. So that's terrifying. We defeated the Sea Claim. We defeated the Sea Claim captain. Still no idea why he was on board. That seemed a little much for coming on a ship with nothing to do with what's going on, apparently. People have been disappearing. At least 3 people in the last week have disappeared. Harvey was the last one to go. That was when Spivey was talking to Mr. Parrish, potentially, just that morning or that mid-afternoon, because there was blood behind the ship, and we speculated the shark creature got him before combat started. So that's some questions to ask. Boris still does not like us. And so we're going to try and fix that this campaign, or this session.
Good recap. Anybody else want to add anything?
Oh,
Yet.
oh, Lucian saved Rice from certain death. Yeah, he held on to him
Death grip.
like Rice's life depended on it. I don't know how else to say that. I was going to make a funny joke, but no, that's plain simple. Lucian kept him from going overboard.
And then didn't someone just get murdered right next? Like we saved Rise.
Oh, yeah,
and then
Jack
I feel like
or something.
right after Jack or one of the dudes was just
Jack,
bam,
Jim, Jill.
taken
someone.
out.
We don't know who the shark guy was. That was NPC number 2. But yeah.
But you also saved the ship by Vesper, I believe, created an illusory hole, bringing the captain up.
Yeah.
So
Trick the
that was
captain.
pretty cool.
That was smart thinking. So we could actually get at it.
And
Yeah.
Despite his efforts to die, you guys also saved Mr. Parrish from an untimely end. I think that was mostly
I was so
Nina
bad.
and Vesper as well.
I understood he was dedicated, but oh my goodness, out of character, I was so mad at the NPC. I'm like, just move. Anyway.
That's good. All right. Yeah, I think that covers it. So there we are. The crew. Some of them have begun to move downstairs. There's obviously still quite a bit of chaos. The main crew, Mr. Wilds, Captain Scully, One Eye, Mr. Quinn, Mr. Parrish, they're all around the helm there, and they're simply discussing the situation of the ship, because they know that the sea captain obviously was trying to create a hole. He was trying to sink the ship. So they need to attend that. And you also hear them discussing that it seems that these types of things keep happening to them. They're uncertain as to why this is a recurring theme, other than that these are treacherous waters. So it and of course we're at sea, and this is a fantastic area, and it's just one of those things. So they're trying to come up with a plan as to how from time to time they can improve their ship defenses, maybe add some ballista or some harpoons on deck, that type
Some
of thing.
cannons.
Well,
Some goddamn cannons.
maybe, but as you can see, their biggest concern at this point is not pirates; it's other things at sea.
Right.
And they have cannons. They have them in bags of holding,
Takes 3 turns.
which I thought was kind of a.
But anyway.
Yeah, below decks.
No,
where
it was
they are
great.
most
It was great he
effective.
has that. It's just, oh my god.
There are a bunch of, how else to say it, sea-claimed parts all over the deck, which you had noted that although they didn't, in your investigation, although they didn't have what seemed to be any useful weapons or armor, as they're all barnacle covered or rusted out. You did note that their personal belongings are also still on them, which was a variety of things.
Nina's gonna. So Boris has exited the scene, so to speak, or is he still on the top deck?
No, he went below deck when everyone else did.
Got it. Okay. Nina's gonna look to Lucian, and instead of going up to the main group of people real quick, she's gonna pull him down the stairs a little bit and wait to make pretend they're gonna she's pulling Lucian along very purposefully, to check the bodies, look at the bodies, quote unquote, and she's gonna speak to him in Giant as they're going and say, "We need Boris to get on board with us. I think I know how. Someone in the crew's doing this. And I think it's someone up there up next to the helm. At least one, if not two."
What gives you the idea that they're in on it?
And as we're picking over the bodies, I'm looking specifically as we're picking through the bodies to see if the Sea Claim members are people who have gone missing ship during this voyage. And as I do that, she's gonna say, "The last person to go missing was Hayes. There was blood in the water at the back of the ship with something banging against the ship. I assume that shark creature. That means either Hayes was thrown over recently or went over recently, or his body was tossed over. I have a very hard time believing that no one on the top deck saw that. And there's only one window on this ship, and it's the captain's windows."
Okay, so what's the plan?
First, I need to ask you about what your church's specific directions to you were about Boris. Just take him in? Specifically, Boris Brainbasher they're looking for? Dead or alive? Or is it, if he's dead, confirm he's dead?
So, to be honest with you, the instructions I tend to get are sometimes a little bit vague.
Okay.
It was kind of just wasn't really so much about Boris as so much of basically that there'd be a couple people needing my help. So I kind of went along with it. And then when you guys said you were, looking to break someone out of a brothel and that there was this dude there who was some bad business, I kind of figured, well, easiest, we could bring him into the authorities. So that was kind of as far as I really got with instruction. So I don't actually know what they want with him or what to do with him. It was really just kind of a, hey, you know what? If he's tied up, he can't really be a problem until we figure out what needs to happen, and then the fire, right? So I didn't really get the chance to figure out what the end game was going to be. I mean, honestly, we could probably just throw him overboard, and I think that would probably be fine.
And Nina struggles with it. To be honest with you, there's few choices otherwise that I would agree with more. But if this is going to keep happening, we need numbers and we need to know he's in our corner. How do you feel about, on paper, Boris Brainbasher dying at sea, but perhaps Hayes survived? Do you see where I'm going with this? My goal was just to get him out of Blue Moor, and that's been achieved in the worst possible way.
You've met Boris, yes?
We've been in the same circles, but I have not met him directly.
Well, I mean, you've spoken with him, since we've been on the boat. Why do you think he's going to go along with anything? I mean, he's kind of obstinate. Even if we were to say, hey, we're going to fake your death, and then because you guys were going to bring him in for some sort of payment, I thought. But if we basically say that he died at sea, I don't know that that's really a reward for him, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I would think the reward is he doesn't get chased by your church. He thinks the church is after him.
I kind of don't think that's going to be enough for him. We can give it a try. If you think that's the way to go, I will back you 100%. I would recommend a plan B because I do suspect he is still going to refuse anything unless you give him that owlbear cloak.
He wants his
I
freedom. But
think he wants the cloak more because I offered him a head start, a good solid head start, and he was
it
quite
wasn't
convinced he
freedom,
would
though.
be.
He would still be chased. That's the difference. He won't be chased with this.
Well, I mean, he's also part of the. I mean, that tattoo around his neck is pretty glaring. I mean, if it's not just the church that's after him, if there are other authorities after him, I mean, can we honestly say that he's Hayes and have him live a free life when he's got that noose around his neck?
You're right.
I mean, we can pitch it. We can absolutely pitch it. I am here for it. Just just prepare yourself for him to be obstinate.
Unfortunately, that is something I'm always prepared for. And also, if you say he's dead, who's going to question you?
Well,
He's
all right. I mean, yeah, I'm more than happy to say that he's dead.
I
I
am
can
fully
definitely do that.
prepared
Sure.
for plan B. I will be ready to. But let's try plan A first. See if
Sure.
the idea of a free life, of not being hunted down for the rest of his days and possibly betrayed by his fellow Gauman for coin, will suffice.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down for it. And as far as the plan B, do you think maybe it would incentivize him if we promised to put in a good word with Deckard? What do you think?
Good word. How? Like to fight him? To coitus? What do you mean?
Yeah, something like that. Like, boy, you two looked
Uh,
really like a really great pair out there. That sort of thing.
perhaps we
Drop something.
save that for plan Q.
Okay, that's fine too.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna if as we're have we found anything on the bodies that represents that maybe they were crew members that have died recently? Just to verify, as we've been picking at them, or Nita has been talking to Giant to Lucian.
You don't recognize anyone particularly, no.
Okay. I'm aware they're all cut up and whatnot, and probably smashed to bits, but I was just curious. Okay.
Right. There's not much left, and even a day or two at the bottom of the sea would wreak havoc, and that's even if they were turned already. So yeah, there you don't recognize anybody here. These all look like they've been this way for quite a while.
Got it. Okay, then I'm going to turn to Lucian and say, should we help with the remains of Jack, or do we want to talk to the crew, or should we go find Boris first? You're more of a talker than I am in these situations.
Well, I mean, I guess if we are suspicious of the crew, I don't know that I necessarily want to go around and try to be chummy. I feel like that's not a thing I'm good at. How about we... Well, I guess as we're looking over these bodies, do we spot anything that is of value? I mean, granted, nothing noticeable or nothing memorable or remarkable, but anything of value? And I guess also, does the crew seem to have any idea for how to split up the spoils of a fight?
At this point, it doesn't. They're starting to pick at the bodies and chuck pieces overboard, if you will, that seem unnecessary. Right? There's most of the people are still kind of in shock a bit and regaling the tale already of how this happened and how you guys fought them and that type of thing. So this is, while you're having this quick conversation, there isn't a whole lot really happening other than they're still scattered about the deck. You would probably have first dibs at whatever you might see. You do see a dagger here, a dagger there, that type of thing, and you do note that they definitively they have gems encrusted in the hilt and in the pommel, and you see what you assume to be a silver chain over there. you can gather up some things, especially if you're quick about it, without anybody even paying attention. Because nobody's really about that right now. They're more about what happened.
I would say Nina is definitely picking up whatever looks shiny and is tossing it into her owlbear hoodie as fast as possible.
Excellent.
Also, I will say that Nina is definitely using Lucian as a human shield because he's so much bigger than her to like hide that she's doing this.
Okay, actually, what we should probably do, if we want to talk to some of the crew, I mean, you mentioned some suspicions and some things going on. What do you think that Spivey, Ryzen, and them are involved in this?
I don't think they are currently. We might take some more questions, but Spivey was asking after Hayes. It could have been a cover, but he was asking about him. And
Well, you mentioned getting Boris on our side. I'm just thinking we did go through quite some efforts to, prevent Rise from being taken by the sea. Perhaps if we think that they are not involved, maybe they would make better allies than Boris, or even have something on Boris to help sway that discussion.
I would feel he's a little bit closer to at least Spivey than you or I. Vesper's a close second, but maybe we try him first and at least offer the deal, and if he doesn't take it, then we take our plan elsewhere and talk to other people. But we don't
Okay.
give him details until he agrees.
Well, then it sounds to me like Boris is the next person we go to.
All right, we go hunting for Boris.
However you want to do that.
Since he went down with the rest of the crew, I assume we're just listening for the most rambunctious group of people, and he's probably there.
Yeah, that would be up. That would be up to Johnny. Where is Boris these days?
Well, he went down with everybody else below deck. So, what's going on down there?
Their number one is to repair the ship. So this one more hit on that from the captain's anchor would have created a hole where he was attacking. But there were other places as well. So they are looking to try and shore up the port side of the ship near the backside there and fix that problem as best they can.
Then that's what Boris is doing.
So that you're all on the bottom deck.
Yeah. He's, holding up whatever planks need to be nailed in place or nailing them into place, however it works. But
they're using wood, right? They're prying it in, so they're kind of almost adding new ribs, if you will, in place to hold up these walls and to create pressure so that they can force the planks back out and do exactly what you're describing, nailing extra layers of wood over top, sealing it up with pitch, everything that they can.
And that's what he's helping with. Make sure that everything keeps moving the ship forward.
I get to freedom. As we get down there and see them, Nina's gonna look to Lucian. Perhaps we should help the crew at least gain some rapport this way. I have my mending spell to help a little bit, but let's try this just in case we need to win favor later. And then we can talk to Boris in a moment.
Yeah, perhaps with the urgency of fixing the hull, taking an able-bodied man away is probably not the best thing at the moment. And so, yeah, I think we both go in and start helping with the repair effort then.
All right. After probably an hour, 2 hours of solid team effort and work with, especially with your mending and Boris getting in there and digging in hard, you guys are all do a pretty good job. They're pretty content. You make the ship very seaworthy again, but it obviously has taken damage that they want to have inspected. They want to get after. But yeah, I'd say about 2 hours, and you've done a pretty good job.
Perfect. Before Boris walks too far away, Nina's gonna tap Lucian on the arm or the shoulder and point at Boris and go, Boris, wait, can we have a moment with you? Please.
He turns around and looks at you and raises his brow. You have 1 minute. What do you want?
How does freedom walking off the ship sound to you? Without any chase, without anyone coming after you.
Well, you don't want to die?
Actually, I'm hoping to keep us all alive.
That doesn't sound like you. What are you getting at? Don't mix your words. Just come out with it already.
We're offering to let you go free if you work with us. We'll help you get off the ship. It may require you to change your name for a small time so that Lucian can verify, quote unquote, Boris's death. Maybe take another name for a few days until you can get away from the town and go about your merry way. But you need to work with us. We think. I have suspicions that the original crew, and I'm making sure no one's hearing us, by the way. I'm trying to be quiet and make sure the crew is kind of moved away from us before I say this, is like, I think the older crew is picking off the new crew to feed the beast, and I think the captain's in on it.
That's a interesting scenario you have there. What has brought you to this understanding?
Hayes was the last one to go. Spivey and Mr. Parrish were talking about him at midday this morning. And the last thing we saw was blood in the water at the back of the boat. How does no one see that? Especially when you are perusing the top of the deck, you would have seen someone go overboard. Anyone would have seen it caused us a ruckus. How does no one see a body go over? How does no one hear a scream? There's only one window on this ship.
So, the giant shark thing, it just crawled up onto the deck and snatched someone and pulled them over without little effort. What makes you think it wasn't that scenario again?
It rocked the ship when it came aboard. The ship has not been rocked before.
Boris raises his brow and looks at you, and it's kind of like the meme where like you're doing the math and the triangulation and the hypotenuse, where that actually makes a lot of sense.
That's good.
But it takes him a minute to get that concept. Maybe we were sleeping when that happened.
You would have felt that.
So, sacrifices need to be made.
What if we're the next sacrifice?
What
if it doesn't stop? I
What
could
if-
be.
Then that's one
And so
less
could
problem
you.
I have to worry about. That's
And it
one
could
more
be you.
problem. That's one more problem they need to worry about then.
There's 5 of them against you.
Those sound like good odds for me.
I highly doubt that, Boris, be reasonable.
Rise is one of them, yes?
I don't know. That's why we're coming to you first, because right now you're the only one that isn't in the game.
Rise is one of them.
How do you know?
He is friends with Spivey. He is one of the original ones. He is part of that original group.
But when I was with Mr. Parrish, Spivey, again, I have to ask more questions. I need some help digging into this. He didn't seem to know what happened to Hayes. He was looking for him. But again, that could be a ruse, and that's why we're coming to you. You've made friends with the crew members, at least enough to have a conversation.
Not with the old guard, with the new guard.
Spivey talks to you. He's just willing to do.
No, he doesn't. I see Spivey, I tell him to get fucked, and then I walk away.
But he listens to you. He does things for you.
Has he gotten fucked?
He's answered a lot of your questions from what I can tell.
Well, I think we're looking at this in different ways, but that's fine. I see what you're getting at, but
Right.
you bring up a very interesting point. Hey, Spivey! I turn around, I start walking towards Spivey, because subtlety, I don't know how to spell, because there's a B in there.
Boris! And she's like, actually, like, reached out, like, grabbed the back of your shirt. Wait.
What?
Yes,
Well,
let's talk this out.
Yes, we are going to talk this out.
No.
I'm going to grab Spivey by the ankles. I'll dangle him over the edge, and then
If
he'll
you
tell
do
us what we want to
that-
know.
No, the rest of the crew will turn on us. We can't have that.
Not if you're right. If you're right, then Spivey is sacrificing people to Sharkman, then they will be on our side, yes?
If I'm right.
Because they
and
will be next.
What if, Boris, listen, just please listen. Even if I am right and he's in on it, who's to say you're not next for throwing someone overboard?
Well, then I will take everyone with me. It's fine.
Boris.
You are underestimating who I am.
I'm trying to keep us alive, and that includes you.
So,
Please.
so
I did it during the battle. I tried. I helped you then. Why won't you trust me now?
instead of sneaking around, let's just ask the question, get the direct answer. If he's lying,
I
you will figure out if he's lying. If he's telling the truth, then there's no need to waste time sneaking around. I don't understand why you don't take a more direct approach.
At this, I'm going to put my hand on Nina's shoulder and just say, Nina, you can try to save who you want, but if a man is determined to die, he's going to find a way. I think, if he's going to be this stubborn and he's going to try this approach, maybe they throw him overboard. Best we can do is just get ready for Plan B, and maybe it works out.
Nina looks back at Lucian. She looks like a fish out of water and goes,
This is why I
And-
uncuffed him in the first place. He was determined to find a way to bring himself down and to take us with him. So if he wants to go, he can go. We should let him go and see what comes. And if it works, then we're the better for it. And if it doesn't, then that's his choice.
She looks at Lucian, puts her hand on top of his, but then looks up at Boris and says, will you at least try it my way?
So what is your way? You haven't said a way. You have said what you think, that you have an idea of what's happening, but you have no way of determining if that is actually the result or not. So if you have a plan, speak now.
You get dinner with the captain and put me in your pocket, and we find out if they're doing that. It's harebrained, but it's what I thought up in the morning to try to keep you from doing this. But if you are dead set on talking to Spivey,
If I ask Spivey and he lies, then you'll know, right? You're smart.
are you going to ask him where I can hear you?
I'll ask him in front of everyone. If he's going to lie to everyone, then he's going to lie to everyone.
All
And
right.
he'll out himself. If he's telling the truth, then we don't make an enemy where we don't need one.
You'll do what you want, I suppose. But all
You
right.
haven't given me another option. You are speaking in hypotheticals of if I have dinner with the captain, to put you in my pocket, and you can listen. As if she would say anything less than Spivey. I have a better chance of dangling Spivey over the edge of the ship and making him talk.
You also have a very strong chance of going overboard with him if you do that. Does your life mean so little?
It's not that it means so little, it's just I have more confidence in myself than you do. How am I going to go over? If someone dumps me, but then they dump Spivey with me.
Well, if you're dead set. All right.
Again, you haven't given me another option.
I'm trying to work through the options, Boris. You're not giving me a chance to.
Well, work through them. I'm still standing here. I haven't walked away yet. But
Nina pinches her eyebrows and starts massaging the headache in her face. It's like, oh god.
I haven't left yet, and I'm growing impatient.
Well, now that's just pressure.
Furthermore, you saw Spivey fight out there. He can't fucking fight.
I also saw the captain and Mr. Wilde's not. They just stood there. She defended herself, but she didn't join the fray. Neither did Mr. Wilde's.
There wasn't enough time.
She
The
was
fight
there for
didn't
several
take.
turns.
The fight didn't take very long. She had a sea zombie in her face as we were beating the hell out of the captain. And then the shark came aboard, and then it left. Everything happened very quickly.
I'm concerned.
There was also no threat, besides what had happened with Rise and Jack.
If you dangle Spivey and drop him over, that's potentially one less ally we have.
But if he's against us, then he's not an ally to begin with.
You weren't my ally to start before this.
Still not.
You're working
Well-
with me, though.
Mm-hmm. That's debatable. We have a mutual interest at this time being. So let's look at it like this. So, say they're throwing people overboard and feeding them to the shark. That doesn't account for the sea zombies or whatever they're called for coming onto the ship.
I think I have a
So,
theory for that too, but I'm not willing to share with you
well,
because
well,
I'm
let,
afraid you're going to throw them overboard too.
well, I'll throw you overboard next. What is your theory? If you are so smart and you have all of these ideas about what is happening here that is
Will you
making
work
this a
with us?
danger and a threat, I don't know yet. You haven't
Then I
really
can't
given me
tell
much
you.
information. Then you're wasting my time and yours. You want my help, and I'm asking you to give me a reason to help you. And you want me to say yes without knowing the reason why. But if you have a theory and it makes sense, like you've already presented one theory that kind of made sense, I'm more inclined to listen to you and not walk away. Or,
Ugh,
he shrugs, I could tell Spivey that you're conspiring against him and get in good with that lot. Now that's a plot twist you didn't see coming.
except everyone on the ship knows you're a psychopath.
No, they don't. They know that I'm a friend, that I've been helping, that I've kept everyone alive, that I drink with them, that I work with them, that I eat with them. You two, three, go off on your own. You sit by yourself. You talk by yourself. Whose side do you think everyone is on? Me, who you think is a psychopath, but is actually quite well adjusted to this sea lifestyle at this point? Or you three that sneak around and whisper amongst each other? He sits in a corner reading a book, talking to no one. You,
Wait. Before you go pulling me into this, do you
well,
forget that I've
you've
thrown
always been
myself
part
into
of
this
this.
nightclub? I've been spending time with people. Also, I think Rise is going to side with the person who risked his own life to save him. I
Yes,
think
that would
we're
that, that would
okay.
be that would be me too. As I was smashing that thing, as you were holding
hmm
it.
Anyway,
So
I
we're
was very.
working we're working together to keep everyone alive. Yes, yes.
More or less, yes.
Okay. So what makes you think he sides with one over the others? We were both instrumental in making sure that he is not the fish food.
Well, you're the one who's
Irrelevant.
talking about throwing us. You're the one who's talking about throwing us under the bus.
Well,
I'm just pointing out.
I'm just I'm
Maybe
just
that
putting
might be a
hypotheticals
bad
out
idea.
there. I'm just putting hypotheticals out there of things that could happen. Because
You
I'm
gotta be
not
careful with that. You're gonna start sounding like Vesper.
I'm not
I wink.
I look confused. I'm not saying I would. I'm saying that it's a possibility. All I'm asking for is for you to tell me what your other theory is to sway me to your side.
Think about the sea claim for a moment. Why in the world would the sea captain come on board unless there was something he wanted?
Okay. So what does he want?
That is what I'm trying to figure out. But Mr. Parrish has an item on his chest that is very unique in nature. And it might be what he wanted. But I can also locate other items on the ship to see, but I would need time to do that. Because the shark creature and the sea claim were not of the same body. They did not care about each other. The shark only wanted food, and the sea claim came here for something else. The fact that Captain came on board at all is alarming.
So the captain, whose brains I splattered across the deck, you
Yes.
think that Mr. Parrish may have something that he wants, but why would he have tried to destroy the ship to get to it? He
The
was
sea
trying to get.
claim
He
will
was
take
trying.
everything that the sea takes. Just think the ship, the sea owns it. He owns it. We all drown.
But I now rub my brow and pinch between my nose. But the Parrish was above deck. If he had something that he wanted, he would have went directly for it. Trying to sink the ship obviously failed. And even though there appeared to be a hole, he didn't further try to destroy what was in front of him.
Because he thought the ship would sink.
Okay, so Parrish has something that the Sea Claimed want, and
Potentially.
the old guard is throwing people over the ship to appease the shark thing.
That one I'm
You-
more certain of.
So even say you are right. Say that Spivey is the brilliant mastermind behind all of this, and they are throwing
I'm not saying
newbies.
Spivey is.
Hold on. Say he's the mastermind behind all this. He's throwing people off to the Sharkman. Then what do? Do we rally the troops, the new ship crew, to stop Spivey and his friends?
We need proof first, which is I've
And
been
that,
trying to gather, and I want your help to do that.
and then what? Say we have rock hard evidence this happens, and the captain and Spivey and all of the old crew are responsible for throwing new people overboard. Then what? It's not going to change anything because they are still in control. All it does is make the new recruits on the ship more paranoid on who gets thrown over and who makes it to dock.
So then we need to figure out how to deal with the shark. If the shark is not a problem anymore, no one gets thrown overboard.
But if the shark is the protection they've talked about, then there is no dealing with it. There's just appeasing it. Yes?
Which is why I do want to talk to Parrish about more of the situation, because he seemed to be very keenly aware of the sea claim, where Spivey was not.
Then let's go talk to Parrish.
How about you go talk to Spivey and I'll talk to Mr. Parrish?
If I talk to Spivey, we are going to have the same scenario that I just talked about, that you don't want to have happen. So let's go talk to Parrish.
Alright. Alright, we'll all go talk to Mr. Parrish.
I lead the way above deck towards Parrish.
You easily find him, of course, at his station. He's at the helm, per the norm.
Hey, Parrish.
Aye. What can I do for you?
I step aside next to him and I point to Nina. I just stare at Parrish in his profile. Just dead stare at him like a psychopath.
Yeah, he's side eyeing you, but not in a mean way. He's like don't shiv me with that look.
I'm looking at him like I'm gonna shiv him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Can I give it an intimidation roll? I don't mean to. I just am not a smart boy either.
Oh,
so
no, you don't have to roll. He's clearly intimidated.
I'm gonna make sure he's intimidated. That's a 9. That's not super intimidating. But he's seen what I'm willing to do, and like Nina said, I'm a psychopath, even though I don't see it. So
you don't need to roll.
Psychopath.
Like I said, he's well aware of your ability. He can read the psychopath in your eye. You're not. Let me put it this way: your 9 succeeds. He's intimidated.
Sweet.
Well done. He's like, yeah. What can I do for ye?
Mr. Parrish. As Nina
Don't
kind of
shiv
comes.
me.
I won't. Boris, please don't shiv him.
I make no promises.
I prepared a thorn whip him. I prepare a thorn whip just in case. Anyway, so Mr. Parrish, when to be blunt, you know more about the situation than I think you've let on. And when Spivey was talking to you about the sea claimed, your eyes went wide. You knew about them. You said nothing this whole trip about them. I don't think any mention's been made to the new members since they've been aboard the vessel. What is going on with them? And why would the captain come on?
Oh, the sea claim. They're everyone knows that they're one of the most treacherous, dangerous things in the sea, and they claim a lot of vessels, and that's one of the reasons that we have tried to make ourselves as streamlined as fast as we can to minimize those attacks. Normally, we do have the ability to have cannons and that type of thing quickly deployed, as you see, but they do tend to claim one or two of us in the process easily. As for others knowing, they all were well aware when they signed on board with us at the docks. It was made well aware there. Everybody that joins any of these expeditions is quite familiar with the tales of the claimed. The lot of you may have missed that part of the information, but that is common knowledge.
Is it common for the sea-killing captain to come aboard?
Well, that was a bit of a surprise. There's usually when the sea king captain comes on board, the ship goes down and it's lost forever at sea. So having the lot of you on board was a very great circumstance for the crew. That was one of the things that we were discussing, actually, the first mate and the bosun and the captain and I.
And what would have possibly made a captain come on board like that? I assume there's something on the ship that he'd want. Is it something with the cargo? I look down at his neck real quick, like a real quick look, like indicating that, and back up his face.
I truly don't know. Speculation is that there's possibly something in the cargo that has made its way on board, or something. It could have been the sheer numbers of the crew. Maybe he's planning some sort of land-bound attack. It truly was a curse that at the moment that we certainly fell into, because it was not of the norm.
I'm looking for like sideways glances and nervous ticks. Anything not related to like Boris standing like a foot away from him. I'm trying to basically insight check to see if he's telling the whole truth about being naive to the situation. So all the little face ticks that would give away a lie is what I'm.
You go ahead and give me the roll.
Okay. Nat 20.
You
Oh,
Oh
diggity.
yeah.
Nice one.
Thank you.
So you can tell immediately that he's definitively nervous, but he has Boris literally breathing down his neck. So it is absolutely expected. There's no question. Truly, there's no question why he's nervous. However, in through all of that, you can assess that he definitely has more information to give you. And he hasn't held anything back from you so far. He's answered every one of your questions. And in fact, there's, like I said, so there's more to the story, not necessarily of the sea claimed, but there's more here.
All right. What else did I ask about the sequin? I'm gonna switch to. All right. Well,
It's and so really it's that's one of the as I said, one of the things that the upper crew has discussed. I'm just glad that we're close to our next port.
speaking of that, the shark creature. That creature's never come on board before, or has it?
So I've never seen one of those come on board one of our ships on this ship as I've been on it, but I have heard of attacks and that type of thing, and fights with those creatures.
And no one saw Hayes disappear today? That doesn't strike you as funny?
It strikes me as horrible. I presume it was part of the sea claimed, but the fact that they didn't continuously attack us at that point tells me that it's probably not. But I don't know.
What's your theory?
My theory is that.
And I'm hoping the insight
that,
check is still holding up for this, by the way, because I
Oh,
want to
yeah,
see how nervous he gets.
remember, you've got a bit of a connection with him. So even with
Yeah.
Boris breathing down your neck, he's throwing his trust in your direction,
Right.
and you can tell that. So he's as much as he can look at he's looking you square in the eye and telling you these things. So you feel pretty confident, but he's obviously over his shoulder looking at Boris, looking at Boris, looking at Boris, looking at you, looking at Boris. He's and he just keeps inching closer or further away from Boris in any way that he can while still hanging onto the wheel. And he says, "Well, one of the things that we're going to do is as we come into the port, which should be on the morrow, actually, which is not what. Remember, you've only been on the ship for about a week,
Right.
so he's telling you that you're about to make port somewhere, not the final destination.
Oh. Where are we docking? I thought this was a straight trip.
No, we have one stop, and that's oh boy.
Like this. What is
You can
it?
see now he's a little bit nervous because he's kind of tentative in what he can tell you, but this is so. Do you remember when you were helping me with the charts?
Yes.
Do you remember the islands that you helped us to navigate around?
Yes.
We're not navigating around them.
Why are we going? What are those islands? Why are we going to them?
You'll soon see.
Mr. Parrish.
It's a glorious thing. Have faith.
Glorious by whose standards?
Oh, by mine. I think
Standards.
it's one of my favorite places on the sea.
Then tell us more.
It's a port. It's a port. It's really that simple. We're delivering some of these goods there, and then we are picking up some more goods. It wasn't in the original plan, though. It wasn't. We were planning directly to go straight there. So the ship, we've been at sea for a couple of months. We went to another city quite a ways away, and that's where we picked up Lord Alexander and Deckard. Then there was a meeting between him and the captain, and so that forced me and Mr. Jacobs to really make a huge change in our path that we chose. And then, but we knew that we were heading to Bluemore, right? So we had to factor that all in, and that's where the lot of you joined us. So now we have to go to this port.
What's the name of the port?
It's
If
called
it's just
the
a port.
It's called the Crag.
Would I have known what the crag is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. That sounds
Absolutely not. This
Okay.
is something that very few know. However, Boris, give me a history check.
What? No. Hold on. Okay. 4.
You're just still glaring
God,
at Mr. Parrish.
I got no clue at all.
Yeah, you truly don't. It was a pretty high DC anyway, but of anyone that might know, surprisingly, it might be you. And I'm still talking like Mr. Parrish. Arr. So that's
You said that.
you know what though, Kaylee, do you have
I have proficiency in history.
then I would give Boris advantage.
Okay, still no.
And I was gonna say, and as he's thinking real hard,
Nine.
I was gonna guidance him, but he's already rolled.
Yeah, I'd give you guidance.
Oh, you allow it? All right.
Yeah, I'd allow it because you're right there. I could say that.
You said the DC's real high. I'm going to take a 4 on my guidance.
Yeah,
13.
it's probably,
Still, I don't know shit about shit. Is there a good brothel there? I don't know then.
No, there isn't. But there's something else.
I looked to Mr. Parrish. I'm like, you said this was not the part of the original plan. When did this get added to your itinerary?
This got added, as I said, when it seemed to come out of the meeting between Captain Scully and Lord Alexander.
How long ago?
Long before we entered the port of Bluemore. It was pretty much when we immediately when we picked him up, him and Deckard, before we even left port. That happened, and then she came directly to me and Mr. Jacobs and asked us about time frames and how we could best navigate the waters. And frankly, with Nina's help here, we were able to shave a day off the time. So the captain was pretty excited about that.
Nina, you said that Mr. Parrish had like a necklace around his neck that you think was drawing the sea claimed?
Well, that.
Are you saying this out loud?
No, I'm asking her. I'm asking Kaylee.
You said Nina. I wasn't sure if you said
character.
Kaylee.
Yeah, so out of character, now that I've heard Mr. Parrish's side, I'm not 100% sure it's the item around his neck. It's the most important thing I've seen so far, so my theory is still kind of standing, but it's now underwater. So,
but just recap. You said that when we were talking downstairs.
Yes,
though.
Okay. I said he has an item that I think is.
You didn't say it was around his neck, though,
No,
or did you?
I did not.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
Okay, no problem. Boris doesn't remember anyhow. It's just the excuse, so continue.
God. Lucian, am I
I would like to say, throw it at this point, is I would like to be this whole time just standing right behind Nina, like a shadow. Just for that imagery.
My
So when you
shadow.
turn around, so when you turn around, just like a little bit too close, like right there.
Hey, Lucian! Boom! Oh, my nose. Lucian, why are you so close? Oh.
I thought didn't you say something about wanting my help with looking into it? It doesn't matter. As far as other questions, I think, well, it seems like Mr. Parrish here is, unless we can find out more information about the island, I think we've covered the bases that we set forth with.
No, you're right.
Here's another question, Mr. Parrish. That shark has been following the ship for quite a while, yes?
I don't know that. I wish I could answer that. Other than that, it did not. We've not had that encounter before.
You haven't had that encounter, but that wasn't the question. The question was, he's been following the ship for quite a while.
I do not know. I truly do not know.
Oh, okay, Bruce, we heard he was nose butting the ship, right?
We did hear that.
Yes.
How long did we hear that for?
Very only for a brief amount of time before the sea claimed came on.
Mm-hmm. It was probably a few seconds, and then we saw the blood in the water, and then it disappeared, and the blood dispersed.
There you go. That's what I was going to help you with, but you got it. Recap what happened.
So what are your questions, Johnny? I'll answer them.
Okay. So, then I looked to Mr. Parrish. I'm like, the Sea Claim have never tried to take the ship before?
Oh, the Sea Claimed have tried, but we've never seen the Sea Captain. We've seen the claimed, we've seen the hosts. They claim one or two, and that's why the voyages through these waters pay so well, because it is highly dangerous.
And then you just saw this shark for the first time.
Aye.
Within...
This is the first time I've seen the shark like that here at sea.
But you've seen it outside of the ship.
I've never seen that particular shark.
Couldn't you tell the difference?
Well, that one was really big. I've not seen one that big before.
When we were looking over the edge, we saw... Was it this one, or did we just see...
We saw a shark shape.
We saw a shark shape.
Yeah.
You felt the thump, 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 and you saw the dorsal fin behind the ship. So it was easy to ascertain that because of the chum in the water, the shark was attacking the boat. A typical shark frenzy mode, right? It's blood frenzy.
What if... And I ignore Parrish at this point. I look to Nina.
Yeah.
What if the shark was letting everyone know that these sea claims were coming back on ship?
Eventually, but there was blood in the water, and then it took someone off the ship, unless you're thinking that was payment.
It could have been payment. It could have been out of control because shark water frenzy.
True. It did smell the blood, I would assume. There was a lot of it.
It could be a very rough alliance.
And Mr. Parrish,
I never my eyes at Parrish again.
Mr. Parrish.
He's ready to wet himself. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish here, but he's on board with you guys right now.
Boris, just it's okay. I don't think he's going anywhere.
This is my relaxed face. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Your RBF.
This is my wrestling bitch face. Resting Boris face. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Resting Boris face.
Can we make that a
I love
canon
it.
thing now? Like, instead of wrestling bitch face, it's resting Boris face.
It's wrestling Boris face. Canon now. Lock it in.
Love it. Love it.
Mr. Parrish, have we been feeding the shark?
Not to my knowledge.
Is my insight check still working?
Yeah, if you'd like to roll another one, you can. But again, he's been pretty forthcoming.
Him. Yeah, I think I trust him with that. Okay, so he has no idea. Got it. I didn't say that in character, but I'm saying he has no idea. Cool. All right.
Again, as I've said, as I've stated, the crew is like family here. I've been on board as long as anyone, and I've never heard of something like this happening ever. We do on almost every voyage. We lose at least one soul.
Right, and as he's talking, go ahead.
There are times we lose two. Rarely a third. But now with this attack and the sea claimed attack, we've already lost 5.
And as he's talking, can I just have Nina scan the deck to where the sea claim creatures are? Do they bleed red? Or do they bleed at all?
It's kind of like a viscous black,
but not red.
Combination. Yeah, it's not red.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clearly if it's blood, you can assess that it's more like a vile putrid. In fact, Lucian, you would recognize this. This is although more runny, it's a black ichor that you see from time to time that comes out of like zombies and that type of thing.
Excellent.
So it's you presume it's the undead necro blood, the life essence, if you will, that would be fueling them and that type of thing. And so therefore, yes, their blood, but it's not normal blood, and it's certainly not something that you would want to eat. Meaning even a shark.
Nina's gonna open her mouth for a second, then close it, and just kind of look at both Boris, who's staring at Mr. Pierce, who probably doesn't see her, but kind of looks back at Lucian, just kind of nods real quick. Well, perhaps we should talk to the captain about our destination a little bit more. Maybe she can tell us something else.
Miss Nina, if you would before you take your leave, if I might ask that you aid me in the navigations, as Mr. Jacobs is looking to take his watch. So when you have time, I would appreciate if you had time to just make sure that nothing goes wrong, that there's nothing awry. Maybe the lot of you might even help me watch deck to make sure that no one goes missing. But Miss Nina, I would greatly appreciate it if you would help me with the navigational charts, at least until Mr. Jacob gets on board. We can talk about the variety of things that can teach you more about the usage of the tools of the trade, the navigational tools and that sort of thing. But I would greatly appreciate it.
What time does the shift change? Or what time do you want me to do
He
this?
usually will take over around when the moon is high. So when the moon is high, if we have one this evening, then it'll be around that time, and then he takes that night shift into the early morning, right around that's early, just before the sun comes up. Then I'll take back over, and then I'll take us into the crag.
So out of character real quick, he wants me to come see him before the shift change, correct? Or during the shift change?
No, before. Just
Okay,
just
make sure.
whenever you're done doing whatever you guys do, he's looking for more guards and help.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So because he wants right now his major concern is to get us into, because we just had a huge combat.
No, I'm
Right.
following. I just wanted to make
It's
sure
middle of the
I
day.
did misheard him. So okay, no, I'm
Yeah. No.
following.
And he just wants because crewmen come and go, but he would like a better guard, and you guys have all proven yourselves to him, and you specifically have helped him with the charts, and so that he doesn't have to wake Mr. Jacobs early or anything like that for his shift. He's looking for you to make sure that they're on the correct path.
Got it. Of course. Just give me a little bit of time, and I'll swing back around. Okay.
Oh, I'd greatly appreciate that.
Of course. And she gives him a smile. It's a little tight because she's still like kind of shaken from the events. Looks to Boris and Lucian like, should we go talk to the captain about our destination, or is there something else you two want to do?
Have you looked where that attack happened, or you went missing to see if there are any signs of a struggle? There was blood on deck, but did you ever look further into that?
Not yet. And I say this at I'm able to say like I'm pulling Boris and Lucian like away from Mr. Parrish because I don't want him to overhear this. If it's where I think it's happening, I would need an excuse to go down that corridor or cover. I would have to do possibly an animal form. So we could wait till nighttime.
Or we can just go now.
If you'd like to explain to the captain why we're snooping.
Yeah, she can come talk to us then.
Boris.
Where? What way? I'll lead the way.
Well, how about this? Let's go and talk to her about the destination, and while we're doing that, I will take a peek and see if I see a struggle. Maybe we can go to her office and look at her charts and maps. And that will give me a chance to do that. Is that fair?
Yeah,
It
but
could
your
be in the
way.
captain's quarters.
Nah, I don't want you guys there when I'm there, though. A shrug.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think at this, Lucian's going to kind of look to Nina and say, well, do you want me to provide backup? Or, if we're coming into this port tomorrow, and it sounds like we might be doing a night guard shift, I would not be opposed to going and taking a nap while you go about and talk to some folks. But if you want me to back you up, I can absolutely just, stand behind you like a shadow if you'd like.
I think that
Whatever
actually
you
might
think's
be
best.
good for you to sleep now, so you're awake for the night. I only need a few hours to rest, so I'll catch that somewhere in here. But let's do that. Boris and I can go. Oh God, Boris and I can go talk to the captain. This is such a bad idea. We can go talk to the captain, can't we, Boris?
Yes, we can talk to the captain, I'm sure.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I think Lucian puts a hand on Nina's shoulder, casts guidance, and says, just remember, if he's going to get himself killed, don't let him take you with you. And then I'll head below decks.
Yeah, so as you guys are discussing this in your little powwow group away from Mr. Parrish, he's not able to hear you and the sounds of the sea and that type of thing. So you're pretty confident that, and there's not a ton of people, and the crewmen that are on board, they're starting to gather now after you've already fixed the ship. They're starting to sweep up and swab the deck and get these body parts and whatnot. So that's all happening and has been happening. You guys did have opportunity to search the bodies as you already proclaimed, so that all happened. So as you're standing there in that group, all of a sudden you hear the bosun whistle, and out walks Mr. Collins, and he's standing at the. He walks up the side stairs and stands at the where Boris and Deckard often watch Fight Club. That's where he's standing, and he blows the whistle about 2 more times every 30 seconds, and it's gathering the crew now down below.
Oh,
He
so they're-
gathers. Go ahead.
oh, so he's gathering everybody. Like all of us have to go. I assume.
Yeah, you're already there,
Okay.
so you don't really have to move
Oh,
much.
okay.
You happen to be up talking to Mr. Parrish, so you're on the upper deck off to one side. He walks up the other side. He's shortly joined by Mr. Wild and by Captain Scully. So basically, with the
Wait,
exception
time out.
of
Sorry, real quick. So Lucian went to go take a nap. Has he come back after hearing the whistle,
Yeah,
or
so
has he
no,
just
this
started to
is-
walk away?
That's what I'm
This is
saying.
before.
This is as he started to walk away.
Okay, okay.
You heard the bosun whistle. So even before you guys have your plan of what you want to do, and that's going to be totally fine. But there's a ship, So the captain is looking to address what happened. Pretty common, But now that they've shored up the ship, it's time for that.
All hands meeting, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So she approaches that railing, the top deck railing there. You are all off to her left. She's looking down on the crew. The whole crew is down where they've now resecured the grate that you guys broke. So that's all good to go. Everything's happy. Everything's fine there. The bosun steps aside. Captain Scully steps up and addresses everyone. She basically claims that the sea claimed, although are a normal occurrence, as they had all been informed, the sea captain coming on board was greatly unexpected. She then proceeds to discuss that they are going to the Craig. You see some of the crew, especially the new crew members. They seem kind of shocked at this because they really had no idea that they were going. But they just signed on for this crew, to the crew and for the destination. So the rest of it's kind of irrelevant to them, but still a surprise. She turns to the group of you and looks at you and extends her direct thanks. She says, "Thank you very much for being here. I don't know how that would have played out if you had not intervened. One Eye tends to get very protective, and I'm pretty confident that although we would have taken the sea claimed captain back to Davy Jones' locker, it probably would have damaged the upper railing and part of the ship, which could have caused some structural integrity. So she's greatly appreciative of what you did." She asks you each to step forward.
I would think Nina kind of steps up, but is like kind of behind Lucian, little bit doesn't like the spotlight like this.
Oh, I step forward. I make sure I'm the most forward one of the group.
He
Even
walks up.
he would have to keep taking an extra step in front of Lucian.
Yep, I understand.
Yep, and I think Lucian just follows instructions, just steps up, completely oblivious of anything else going on, just like, okay, step forward, did that, and then just kind of looking for, okay, what next? What next? I'm in my zone.
She looks at each of you, of course, and for a moment,
I blow her a
just so you
kiss.
know,
I blow her a kiss.
okay, fantastic. For a moment, even Cookie and Vesper are up there, and she asks the three of you to step forward. And as you do, Boris being the closest, she kind of looks. She looks you square in the eye as she can, because you're quite a bit taller than she is, and she asks you to bend down, just to bend down as she's presenting a. It's a silver chain with a medallion on the end, with the ship's crest on it.
Look confused, and I bow my head down enough for her to get it on me.
Perfect. Again, she thanks you. Your what you did helped save the crew, and it doesn't look like anything special. It's just a metal medallion, but it has the ship's crest on there. This is our reward to you. She does that for each of you, asks you to bend down, and she presents you with this award. She goes on and talks a bit more about the rest of the crew. Definitely behaved bravely, as expected. As she presented these awards to you, the whole crew cheers. I mean, they recognize what you all did for the ship. Basically, you saved the ship, and they're not stupid. They saw it happen. They saw a couple of the crewmen. They take so to follow that through. They take a moment. She asks that we honor those that have fallen. Takes note of their names. The money that they've earned so far on this voyage will be sent back to their families as in appreciation. And she tells you all of this. She steps away. Mr. Wilds dismisses everyone. She basically takes her leave and goes back down to her quarters. Mr. Wilds walks up to you and talks to you for a moment. As you know, we're heading to the Crag. It's a unique port. You are welcome to leave the ship, as we'll be there for about 4 hours. We need to unload some cargo and reload some cargo, 4 to 6 hours, and then we will be leaving for the Neo Kingdom.
What makes this port so special?
This is a port that we have been commissioned to include on our voyage here, and so we need to go there.
What's there though? Is it a city? Is it an island group with lots of gems? Like what's about the port that? Do we know anything?
It's quite unique. I think you'll enjoy it as we come in. It's hidden. It's unknown, save a select few that know how to get there. Some know of it. Again, very few. But it is one of those things that we've been commissioned to go to. Hang on to that medallion. Should you choose to go ashore, it could easily serve you well.
What does its status mean? I know it's a reward, but what does it do for us?
Well, it denotes that you're part of this crew, and this crew is quite renowned, especially at the Crag, because we have been traveling there for quite some time and kept its location very well guarded. We bring them a lot of what they need, as do a number of other ships. There's trade that happens there, and we're bringing in some greatly needed things.
Is there anything we should be mindful not to do other than the obvious? Is there certain customs we need to be aware of?
It's a unique port, ungoverned by anyone. It has its
kind of
own,
exasperated a little bit.
It's under its own set of laws. Keep your distance, but not. So you're welcome. You're welcome there. Don't get into any trouble. There are quite a variety of peoples there. It can be rough, but with that medallion, you will be able to walk pretty freely, and no one will outright bother you unless you bother them.
Nina just kind of turns her head slightly to Boris and looks at the side of his face for a long second.
He's oblivious. No clue that you're looking at him.
That's fine. Just the existential dread on her face right now is just a painting anyway. All right. Well, I suppose we'll see when we get there. I've question for you. Mr. Pearson seemed to be aware, but Boris brought up an interesting point about that shark creature that attacked the ship. It's been following the ship for a while? Yes?
If it has, I'm unaware. It that's the biggest of its kind I've ever seen.
Nina's just looking at his face the same way she did Mr. Parrish, really like looking to see if he's looking away from her, like up to the left, if he scratched his face when he said all that, like he's unaware.
Well, yeah, you see him thinking, quite literally thinking, and he feels much more healed.
I rolled a medicine check by accident, but I was going for 11. It's the same. It's the same +5 for it.
I'm just teasing. Yeah, so no, you don't perceive that he's
Right.
he's truly trying to recall over the past how many years, and he's never had this type of occurrence happen. This is highly unnormal for them.
He wasn't up top on the deck when we saw the blood in the water and the thump, thump, thump at the back of the ship, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
I walk away and towards the captain's quarters. I don't say anything. I just start walking in that direction.
Yeah, he's pretty much done with you anyway. Yeah, that's fine. You can keep asking him questions if you like, but all right, Boris, you do that.
Okay. You can finish with Nina and Lucian. Unless they just follow me to make sure I don't cause trouble.
Lucian, I think, was going for a nap unless he saw that and wants to stop or go with
Nope,
him.
Lucian is unconcerned. If Boris wants to get himself in trouble, I think Lucian is very confused about why Nina is trying to protect him. But no, so Lucian I think pays no attention to Boris. I think he just kind of looks to Nina and kind of gives the, "Do you want backup, or can we have or what are your thoughts now that we've had this lovely little ceremony?"
I think I should be okay. since Mr. Wiles is right there, I'm saying I only wish to see the captain's maps a little bit to understand the sea more when I go to help Mr. Parrish with his shift. Do you think that'd be all right, Mr. Wiles?
The captain's quarters is pretty. We not many of the crewmen are allowed in there, but given that what you have recently just now done for the ship, I'm willing to bet that she would waive that for you.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Lucian, I think I'll be okay if you wanted to go take a rest or if you wanted to talk to Spivey before you do. Whichever you prefer.
I think I'm more interested in Rise, to be honest. But
Or
it seems like you were a bit suspicious of them, so maybe I'll hold off until maybe we have the chance to talk to them together later on. I am going to look at Mr. Wiles real quick and just say, so, since you guys now consider us part of the crew, if we think of something good, can we throw a name in for the ship?
Why? But that is that's being handled by Mr. Parrish. The captain has, since he's been on board longest, she has allowed him to pick the name for us.
Sure, pick the name. So we can give our recommendations to Parrish if we think of something.
And to be honest, your recommendations would be held with a little more weight.
Wonderful. I will go sleep on that. Thank you very much. And then, and then Lucian's going to go head down to our bunk and take himself a nap.
And Nina quickly says thank you to Mr. Wiles, and then shuffles up behind Boris as he's getting to the door.
And I don't have a good voice for the captain, so you're going to have to just deal with it.
That's fair.
You've been doing really well up till so far.
I could talk up like this, I suppose, and be heard.
Oh God!
It just falls apart.
Spivey and Drag.
All right. Hi, how are you?
Oh God!
Maybe she's from the upper
you sound
Midwest.
sick. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm very sick.
I bang on the door, like bang, 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 like I'm INS or something.
Oh, fantastic. She opens the door to her quarters and addresses you directly. Says, "Yes, how may I help you?"
Oh, we have questions.
Pops out from behind him. Actually, I was hoping to see your maps so I could help Mr. Parrish later with his maps. He wanted some help with navigation, but I'm not familiar with the seas. I'm wondering if your maps are more extensive.
She says, "Come on in. I wanted to talk to you anyway."
Oh, okay.
Together or alone?
Together is perfectly fine right now. Come on in. She steps aside and opens the door wide.
I look to Nina. I'm like, right now. And I walk in.
Oh no.
I looked at her. I'm like, what do you know about that shark?
Nina just when Boris said that, she almost smacked him in the shoulder, but stopped herself. She's like, I'm going to get terribly hurt if I do that. So she puts her hand back down.
So she says, yes. So that's a bit of an abomination. That was the largest of that species that I've ever seen. You're part of the race called the Sekulin, an offshoot, if you will, of the Sahagin mutation.
Sahagin.
So yeah, right. So that what happens is every so often this mutation happens, and what they've done is they've collected and become a subrace of the Sahagin. I don't know why it came on board. We've never had something like that happen, other than when it just simply grabbed one of the crew members and left.
I would assume it's the blood in the air and on the ship that
yes.
attracted it?
So normally they are a half sea, half land race. They can be very tough to deal with. They're easily agitatable, but for the most part, they tend to stick to themselves because they're small in numbers, and for fear of being hunted, they stay within their territories.
Before the Sea Claimed came on for their attack, it bumped the ship as if warning someone. As if warning us.
If we have a guardian angel out there, that would explain a lot as to why our voyages have gone as easy as they have. And that's one of the reasons that we have crewmen signed up for the next 5 years to get on board of our ship, because a lot of our voyages, they pay well as they're easy. But we do go through the sea claimed waters. We do go through other dangerous waters as well. There is a maelstrom that we pass near, but never too close. And that's one of the reasons that I have commanded Mr. Parrish and Mr. Jacobs to be as diligent as they are. They do not let go of that wheel. Period.
So that's the first time that creature's ever knocked into the ship before?
That's correct.
So,
well, not as far as we know. We've never seen it, and if it has knocked into the ship, maybe. I mean, we've had encounters before Bluemore. We did have another encounter, but it wasn't anything like that. There was something that I heard another thump, but it wasn't. I presume that it was just us hitting something in the water, it's bouncing off the ship.
Who seemed to be the most prepared for these attacks, normally, of your crew? Who always seems to be on the ready?
For the Sea Claimed or the Sekulin?
Anything.
One Eye is always prepared. There's a reason. He seems to have a bit of an insight. He's always on the ready. He may not look it. He's almost an extension of Mr. Parrish and Mr. Jacobs. He can tell when someone leaves or enters the ship. It changes the humming of the sails. It changes everything about it. That's one of the reasons that I have him where he is, because he's one of the first to be alerted, or rather to alert the rest of us for any type of danger.
So, and I'm looking around the captain's quarters. I rolled a 4 on my investigation, but I'm like looking for any signs of a struggle, anything that looks like maybe recently out of place because it's the same day, and I don't think I'm seeing anything.
The only thing you see is that the bed is in disarray. Right, you can see, because everything's right there. You can see her
Just
bed.
kidding.
Well,
Sorry.
if you want to do the insight roll, you could. But I mean,
I mean,
there's oftentimes you don't see Mr. Wilds. We'll put
yeah.
it that way.
Yeah, I figured it was something like
So,
that. Okay.
But you don't know. I'm just stating a thing. But other than that, you see her charts. She points to the charts and says, "There are the maps. Please do take a moment and study them. Become familiar with them. As you can see on the maps that you've looked at, you did not see the crag.
Okay. And as I'm looking
there's
over
the crag.
over the maps and casting my hand, I'm gonna just mumble something like in Druidic, just like maybe it's like my native tongue, and I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
So the map itself glows.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And I'm kind of just
What
I'm
do you
glancing up
find?
at her.
What do you find interesting?
I'm looking at her face. Does she look nervous at the fact that I'm looking at the maps, or does she give
No,
away anything?
she's sat down in her captain's chair. She's kicked back, heels up on the table.
Okay.
Other end, you two are looking at the map. You're looking at the map. Boris is milling about the cabin wherever he is.
And as I'm looking at her, is there anything magical on her?
Yes.
Where do I see it?
Her weapon, her hat,
Okay.
and you also see her hand.
The weapon hand or the offhand?
The offhand.
Okay. And as I take a moment to look at her, I'm like, I didn't know maps could be enchanted. Is this to help with weather or just the navigation?
It is. It's exactly what it's for. Also, it only shows if and as you look at it, you can see the path that Mr. Parrish and you calculated and adjusted is exactly depicted on the map.
Oh, is it like actively changing as we move through the...
Correct.
Oh, that's cool.
And so she looks at you and she winks. She says Kortoth, the path disappears.
Okay.
And the island and the crag disappear.
Nina like goes, oh, is that Elvish she's speaking? Is it, because I know Elvish, is that Elvish?
Yes.
I say back to her in Elvish, you're full of surprises.
She replies back to you in Elvish. Of course. I have to be. With this crew, are you kidding? Have you seen them?
Nina kind of chuckles like, that's fair. Looks back at Boris for a second, then goes,
They're a bunch of big boys.
are we continuing this conversation in Elvish?
Yeah, she's still talking in Elvish.
Oh yeah, like, I guess who is the one that makes you roll your eyes the most? Some days, oh my goodness, some days Spivey, I love him to death, but he talks quite a bit and I don't know what to say sometimes.
So, and that's why Spivey isn't on the inner circle. As much as I love him, he's a fantastic crewman. This ship would not run as smoothly as it does without him. He is an inspiration to the entire crew. He holds their hands. He guides them. He is the heart and soul molded and modeled for every one of our crew members. Rise, who we almost lost, and Dirk. They are the three of them are fantastic. Again, his loose lips, as I'm quite certain, as I've seen, you are well aware.
That makes sense. And you and Mr. Wilds have been working together for quite some time, haven't you? And I just kind of look over the bed, kind of conspiratorially, because I do have some charisma stats, but I'm not good at it.
It gets lonely.
That's fair. Long nights on the ship, I can see that. Seems nice enough. Don't tell this one behind me. He might get this. He's got a little bit of a crush on you.
She looks at you, Boris, head to toe.
I hope
You
not.
might see the tiniest corner smile.
I give a fuckboy up nod to her.
Oh, God.
Before, like, are you done talking in moonspeak or whatever is coming out of your mouth that I don't understand? That's pretty fucking rude. That's all I'm saying.
Nina
So
goes
how
back.
did you come to be on my ship? I've
That was-
talked to Mr. Wilds.
Mhm.
I've talked to Mr. Collins. I've talked to Mr. Parrish. I've seen you moving about the ship. She walks up to the map and says Vegola. And the path returns. The crag returns. Now the ship is there that you didn't notice before. She actually motions her hands over top, and the rest of the map kind of fades out, and you can see just the ship. And she does it again, and you can see just her quarters. And you can see yourselves in the quarters.
I was kidnapped against my will as they are fugitives from Bluemore for burning down a brothel and half of the city. I look.
Wait.
Nina rolls her eyes.
Whoa, she
Nina
says,
rolls
wait.
her eyes.
She says, wait. You burned down the brothel? Which brothel?
The good one.
You did not burn
They did.
down the love canals.
Was that the name of it out of character?
Was it? I don't know.
I say that. Give me a second. I gotta make sure. It
I
was.
was like,
No, that's session 0. Hold on. Yeah, Lady Kate's Quivering Canals.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
Quivering.
that one. These fuckers.
He looks over at you. You had nothing to do with it.
No, I was kidnapped against my will.
He leans back further in her chairs, puts her hands behind her neck.
And Borks tell the truth 100% about the entire situation.
The fire
and-
was an accident. No one was at fault. But
No,
in eyes
no,
of the
no,
law,
no.
You
are at fault.
understand. You understand that brothel was the heartbeat of Bluemore.
It was.
We can only hope that they were able to contain the fire because
They weren't.
Just out of character. I believe that's the whole premise for why we ran away, is because they were not
Yeah.
able to contain that fire.
they unfortunately weren't, as Boris has pointed out.
I saw the black smoke, obviously. That brothel is literally connected to everything in town.
The fire was an accident.
It wasn't. You said
You
it on
don't-
purpose.
No,
I
it
was
was
there.
not.
I was there. I
And
saw
you
you
were
do
beating
that.
women. Shut up.
They had
She
a-
stands up. She stands up. She walks to the door, and she yells for Mr. Wilds.
Oh no.
You're in trouble.
Nina is like,
Mr. Wilds. I mean, he's there because he's in his quarters. He's there. He's her personal valet, basically. He does what she says because what she says is law. She says, "Go get my crate."
Nina backs away from the table.
I don't know what that is, but I'm excited now. I look all giddy.
He said, I thought it was in your quarters. She said, I've been waiting for you to get it. I told you
no.
because we were in such a hurry. It was not delivered. It was on board. It was on the deck. I told you to go get it. Boom, he is gone. Gone. And she says,
What's
"Well,
what's
I hope his bed is warm for himself tonight."
what's the item? Maybe I can help locate it. I have a spell that might be able to identify and find it. If you could tell me what it looks like.
Go off.
Oh
So
God! It's that
good-
chest! Oh God!
Yeah.
God, out of character. I'm swallowing like a dry throat right now. I'm so nervous.
Well, you're a criminal, so you should be.
Out of character. Should you be keep?
Arson, thievery. You can't be a good boy like Boris. I haven't done anything wrong a day in my life.
Oh, no, no. Mr. Wilds will be here, I suspect, in the next 10 to 12 seconds with my crate, or that will be his ass.
Do you want me to go get Lucian? Yeah, I think he's just napping at the moment.
No, that's fine. This is something that I need,
Okay.
and we'll deal with that.
How pissed does she look? Does she even?
So, in reading her face, it's not so much that she's pissed. You can see that she's angered, but she's also drastically concerned at the loss of Mistress Kate's quivering canals.
Got it.
You can see that there's what's your passive perception. So I'm glad
High.
you're asking this
High.
question. You're high, so you will note there's something more to this.
Yep.
It's not just agitation, it's concern.
And now I'm more concerned about Vesper. Okay, got it.
As if on cue, Mr. Wilds knocks on the door. Crate presented, and you know which crate it is.
Yep. I try not to
so
look so shocked. I look casually back at the maps just to see what I see on it.
So
looking at her?
she slams the door in his face. You hear him thump thump thump. I mean, quickly he's gone. He's going to make himself busy. She takes the crate and puts it on the table. She asks you to roll up the map and set it aside, and she immediately starts accessing the crate. I mean, it's now been lockbound and everything.
Cool. I move aside the map.
She opens up the crate, and now you can see its full content. Right. So as you see it, there is a that silver bird figurine. It looks very much like a crow or a raven. You can see not only the 4 vials that you saw before, but you see that there is also a large number of platinum pieces in here, like a goodly amount, a few gems, and things of the like. So I mean, this is obviously, it's not necessarily her personal effects, but it's something as far as the bar. She's shuffling through everything. It's a good sized crate, so she's got to go through some stuff. And she says, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And she says, She said, "There's supposed to be a scroll case in here, a gold inlaid scroll case." And you can hear her muttering this. She yells for Mr. Wilds again. And she looks at you and says, "I might need your services after all."
Of course.
And she walks to the door. Mr. Wilds comes. She walks to the door. She tells him that the scroll case is missing, and he looks at her wide-eyed. She says, "Go find it. Now. You find it." And she puts her hand on her scabbard, on the hilt of her scimitar, which you know is quite ornate at this point, especially now that you know this magic. And he says, "No need for that. I will. I will. Of course I will." Boom.
Mr. Wilds, I can come help you. See if I can
She's
find it.
gone.
Oh,
There
okay.
is no hesitation on this guy.
Okay.
Gone. And she yells, "Get Collins." Moments later, you hear the bosun whistle. There's crew. It's a big thing. She sits back down.
Good help is
Go
so
ahead.
hard to find nowadays. I shake my
It
head
is.
disgustedly.
It is. This so the problem with this is Lady Kate's, although it's a quintessential cornerstone, not just of the economy, but also the heart and happiness of the entire town. It's also the beginning of the underground.
What do you mean the underground?
There are things that happen in the Neo Kingdom that we are trying to help to expose, trying to help understand. We're still putting things together. It's more than just the best brothel around. When I say it's connected, the literal underground tunnels connects every single occupancy in town.
Do you see what you did? I shake my head, and I frown, disappointed in you.
Nina looks at him, and you could just see the cat crackling in her hands, like, I swear.
She pulls out a quill and paper, and she starts sketching the scroll case, and she sketches her insignia on the scroll case, and she says, "I need you to find this."
Nina takes the paper in her hands.
She says, "Go,
Okay,
hurry,
yes, of course.
go
Yes.
join Wilds.
Yes.
Go help him.
Do what you need to do."
Nina scuttles out of that office so fast, leaving Boris behind, do whatever he does, and is like in her mind, shit. So, immediately it's gonna go down to
I'm looking at the comment that Johnny wrote for Boris. This bitch stole it.
I seen it.
You don't know nothing.
Awesome.
You know
I've
nothing,
seen
Jon
it.
Snow.
Oh
Okay.
my god, that's awesome.
I'm running to the middle deck where I found it underneath the grate system. And who else is down here with me?
Right now, because it's happened so quickly, Mr. Wilds is addressing the crew at this moment. You can tell he's wrapping up his speech. He's about to dismiss the crew to turn this boat literally upside down, every quarters, everything until they find it.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably got maybe another 30 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'm down the hold, and as long as I don't see anyone down here with me, if I have to face step to get there before they dismiss everyone, I will. But
the only people that aren't there would be Vesper and Cookie, as they're in the mess hall.
But
so he kind of has carte
no
blanche.
one is down underneath the grate in the middle of the deck right now.
Correct. Where you found the crate.
I chuck that scroll into the pile of crates that's in there, and I start casting locate object down here.
All right. The crew starts to descend upon you. They are throwing things all over the place while you locate it. You see it, right, because you threw it.
But I'm making a big show of casting this spell too, like doing the whole vocal, hand movements, everything.
So I'm gonna roll a d20, and I want you to roll a d20.
Okay.
And we're gonna see who finds it first. You are the crew.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you advantage because you have to beat a 10.
Okay, I can do that. I can't do that. That's a 3. I can't find it first.
You have advantage because you know where it is.
Advantage, that's right.
It's not necessarily a matter of you finding it. Well, it kind of is because you chucked it, but you know better than everybody.
I still don't find it first because it's a 7 because I chucked that thing into the crates. So
yeah. So one of the crewmen picks it up. What do?
Oh, thank God you found it. That's what the captain's looking for.
He says, "Here,
thank you.
take it.
Thank you.
Go."
Oh God, thank you, whoever you are. Who is this? Who is this I'm talking to?
This is Left Hook Lou.
Left Hook Lou. Okay.
Yeah,
thank
it's
you
Lou.
so much, Left Hook Lou. And then I run
He's
back
probably
upstairs.
he's honestly the only one that would probably stand a good fight against Boris.
Got it. Okay.
I literally made him to fight Boris.
Okay, so
Boris
I see
didn't
Left
have any
Hook.
interest.
He hands it to me. I'm like, thank you so much, Left Hook Lou. And I gently pat him on the shoulder with the guidance, and I run upstairs.
He yells up, "Mr. Wilds, we found it.
And I'm like,
He
I have
blows
it in
the
my
whistle.
hands. Like, it's right here.
Mr. Collins blows the whistle, and you're back, I assume, at the captain's quarters?
I ran. I sprinted, and I skid to a stop outside of her door, barely catching myself from falling. Like, it was down in the hold, behind crates. Probably from when the fight happened. Here you go.
Yeah, come in here. And she takes... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I open up the door for you.
Perfect.
And I take the scroll out of your hands, and I shut the door in your face, and I hand it to the captain. This is what you're looking for? I don't lock it, so you can always just reopen
I
it.
open the door. Like,
Get in!
Shove it open.
So she says... So she takes the case, the crate, and she literally tosses it onto the floor.
Oh.
Platinum pieces throwing everywhere. She grabs the silver figure, tosses it to you.
Who just did?
You.
Oh, okay, I got it. Oh God. Okay, I got it.
And she says, so then she opens the case. She says, "This we need more now than ever. We're the underground is putting together, is trying to raise an army. We're trying to raise the forces to overthrow the. He's calling himself some sort of bandit guy. I don't know.
The bandit
And
King?
yeah, whatever.
Okay.
He's blah blah blah. But he's gaining power and he's gaining traction, and but he's the least of the worry, right? So there are much bigger things, and that's one of the reasons that we're going into the crag. She opens up the scroll case, and she pulls out a map. She then dumps the case out, and a key falls out. A very unique key.
He is immediately intrigued.
It's made of no metal that you've ever seen. It's inlaid with an amazing sapphire.
By the way, as this is happening, does Lucian hear the bosun whistle and he's probably up and running, or is he conked out? Just so we know.
I don't know. Is Lucian up and running? Because it's only been 15 minutes.
Yeah, if it's only been 15 minutes.
I mean, he could rejoin the crew. He got orders from the crew. He was looking for the stuff. At this point, he can go back to what he was doing. The crew has been dismissed. Mr. Wilde says, "Well done, well done." You can hear all this. I mean, he's loud.
I think I'm not trying to think what he would do. I think Lucian is going to be true to his word. He said he was going to go take a nap. He's going to go take a nap.
All right, very good. She says, "This is what is going. After we leave the crag, we are not going to the Neo Kingdom.
What?
We are going here." And she holds up the map.
What's the location look like, Bruce?
It's another hidden place. It's another set of islands, and this is the reported treasure of the Lost Kingdom. And you've heard of this. The Lost Kingdom is 1,000 years old. It is fairy tale. It's wives' tale. There's nothing. This is the only living. These are the only two ever found pieces of information on the Lost Kingdom. And she looks sternly at you. She wraps up the map.
She shrinks it down to herself a little bit. Doesn't like the stern look at all.
Now part of this has to go back to rebuilding the underground. It has to go back to Bluemore. She rolls up the scroll, the map, puts it back in the scroll case, puts the key inside, and hands it to you.
Oh, don't do this. Nina looks down at it for a second and then just gingerly takes it from her. Why are you giving it to me?
Why are you giving it to her?
I hold it away from Boris.
She says, "I'm giving it to you," and points to both of you.
Why?
Because things have changed. We can no longer go. When we get to the crag, there's a sloop there. You need to get it, and you need to go retrieve. You need to verify the location of the treasure. We cannot waste the time.
Is that why Lord Alexander's on the ship?
Lord Alexander has his own reasons for the crag that I'm not sure of. He has simply purchased to travel there.
And you're certain it has no ties to this, that he has no way of knowing what's on the ship?
Oh, I promise you, he has no idea what's on this ship, other than the things that he brought himself.
Right.
We were loaded long. Most of what we had, well, not most, half of what we had was loaded long before. We transferred some of that off. We brought on new things. He never left the ship.
Let's see. All right. Nia's going to put that into her owl hoodie pocket, like deep in there where she had it the first time. And
You now have a treasure map
yay!
and a specific key.
What does the key open?
She looks at you like, really?
Well, I know it's to treasure, but is it to a door?
You're going to have to find that out.
All right.
No one's seen it in 1,000 years.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm just asking. I'm so sorry. Her head's down, her hands are up, and she's starting to get into that face like, I was just asking. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to step on toes.
She looks at Boris. She looks at Boris. Do
Up
this.
nod.
Do this. Make this happen. We need this. The evils at work that are trying to control this land have the upper hand. And now that we've lost the central point of our communication and our network, this is critical. This has to happen now.
For you, I will.
And you will bring me my dinner tonight.
Only if I can eat up here with you.
Nina goes pink. And is looking down at her feet because she doesn't know what to do.
He dismisses you both.
Cool.
I have work. Go. Send Mr. Wilds.
Is Mr. Wilds outside the door?
Oh, guaranteed.
Hey, cuck boy, she needs you. So it looks like we have some discussing to do, Nina. And everything that you had theories or ideas about, they don't matter anymore. Because you fucked up.
She's not even gonna. Yes, there's things to discuss. And my sins are no worse than yours.
Mine didn't doom the fate of the continent.
I'm sure something you've done's doomed someone. Let's go find Lucian and the others.
You want to keep telling yourself that to feel better.
You are
That's
willing.
fine with me.
Nina starts walking ahead of him because she's so tired of talking and being near Boris. This is like 3 years of being near Boris that she could do or die without.
And he follows you downstairs.
All right. You guys obviously head down to your quarters as you prepare for your night watch that's about to come up. And that's where we'll end the session. So, thank you everyone for joining us for Dorks Are Dangerous Chronicle 2, Session 4. And on behalf of Kaylee, Dave, Johnny, and myself, Bruce, please join us for Table for D4. And of course, the continuing saga, which is the completely changed direction of Chronicle 2.
You can always support us on Patreon if you like what you hear. Just go to patreon.com/dorksaredangerous. Also, give us a follow on Facebook or follow us on Instagram, where you can see our awesome pets, especially mine, who's the best.
And just remember, dorks are dangerous. Bye!
Wholesome crew. Told you. Whole time. Wholesome crew. Cook named Cookie.
Oh god, yeah. That doesn't
Oh,
explain the blood of the
fantastic.
water! It does not explain the blood of the water!